Yep. We're watching George of the Jungle. That's right, ladies and germs. Rotten Tomatoes is striked again. Struck again. Have struck. They did another bad review on a good movie. Hey! So, George of the Jungle, which is the cult classic that we're gonna dive into today, if you couldn't tell, it was trashed by Rotten Tomatoes, which, as we all know, seems to be a disgusting shit show of a website. Before I get you clicking off because my monologue is too long, let's roll that new sexy intro. Oh, before we jump into this, make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so that every time I post a video, you get a notification. Now roll that new smexy intro. I told you. I told you it was a nice intro, wasn't it? Now let's talk about George, shall we? This glorious piece of cinematic history opens up to Ursula and her douchebag boyfriend Lyle trying to fit in with the local guides. I'd say it's going pretty good.
I was on a bridge like this in Maui. It was steady as a rock.
So then we see Ursula wander off into the forest and attacked by a lion. Oh, but then she's saved and then knocked out by George of the Jungle.
Bad kitty.
Watch out for that tree!
So it's not really a big deal with the reveal. He just spins a lie on the top of his head. The only exciting thing is Brendan Fraser's chest. Please don't judge me. Well, with the help of his animal friends, George starts to make Ursula feel that, like, maybe this guy's not just a random jungle guy.
Oops.
Like, maybe she likes him? I don't know. Terrible CG elephant aside, I mean, come on, let me look at this. It's disgusting. So besides that monstrosity, George seems to get Ursula swooning over him in no time. I gotta say, George's relationship with Shep is really adorable, so I guess I could get over this gray CG Poochie nightmare.
This Shep, George's big, great, peanut-loving Poochie.
This movie really gets me with the fourth wall breaks. They get me every single time.
While the tired Tusker teased on a... Wait a second, the dog bone is too much. Lose it. That's better.
Then our hero falls deeper and deeper in love with Ursula thanks to a bunch of help from the animals. Again, it's him making the animals do everything. I'm not sure how George learned how to speak English so well, but I gotta say his communication with the animals does kind of make the movie funnier, especially when some of the animals start speaking English. Ah! There's that to look forward to. Plus, it leads to the cutest little capuchin monkey scene we ever did saw. This lion is one hell of a wingman when it comes to swooning the ladies. Anywho, flash forward to George and Ursula having a hell of a time dancing and having a beautiful night, to be honest, all while her boyfriend and the guards are still searching for her.
I've had it. I am the richest, smartest, handsomest guy here, so I had to go first. Ugh. There's an elephant around here.
She don't give a shit. She's having a good time with her new boyfriend, so yeah, Lyle should just fuck off at this point.
Those were nowhere near properly digested.
This leads to a pretty awkward moment where Larry the Cable Guy and Discount Hugh Laurie plot to steal George's best friend, Ape, and George gets shot in the head. No! Which leads to Ursula's fiance, Lyle, getting locked up thanks to shooting our beloved friend George. What a story. Alas, he survives, and he gets a taste of what the modern world is like. Doing crazy things, shopping for clothes, all the likes. It's just wonderful. And then we get this classic scene where George doesn't know how to make coffee, so this happens. But I do have to say, I totally ship George and Ursula because they're just super cute. And I love it, and it makes my heart smile. So even though I know how it ends because I've seen it a million times, but shut up. We get another montage of George just totally killing it in that outfit. But all of that does come at a cost because all of George's buddies back home in the jungle really miss him. And Ursula has to find out how to get her god-awful mother to like George, which may or may not prove to be nearly impossible.
Pick up the phone!
Well, I think that was an overreaction.
After chowing down on the coffee that we talked about earlier, George goes nuts in the city, starts playing drums for a dance class, starts dancing, and then also climbs this giant bridge, which I think is the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm not too sure. It's a big-ass bridge that he climbs and then swings down to save a person. The dude was parachuting and got stuck in the bridge, and George is just like, okay, I'm already up here running on the bridge for some fucking reason, and now I'm just gonna go jump down and save this guy.
Hey, fella!
Yeah, he saved the guy's life and almost blew Ursula's cover, and then blew Ursula's cover when they started making out on camera. So they get caught. Ursula's mom freaks the fuck out at the grooming salon. Grooming salon? Sorry, that's for dogs. Well, she is checking in with Dumb and Dumber over here. We find out they kidnapped Ape, but George's toucan friend, Tukey, flies all the way to New York City just to warn George and to tell him that he needs to come back and save his buddy Ape. Back to Ursula, her parents think she's absolutely batshit insane.
I don't want to marry Lyle anymore.
And then they show a perfect example of why we should eat the fucking rich.
Don't you realize the caliber of people who are going to be here? I thought we would be introducing them to Lyle Vandergroot.
That brings us to first impressions. The most important thing about a steady relationship is first impressions with your significant other's parents. George knows plenty about that.
Mom, Dad, this is George.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Ursula.
Given his not so smooth introduction, Ursula's mother threatens George just because he was an idiot. She's really just evil, and I hate her so much.
Where you come from, zebras marry zebras and leopards marry leopards.
George then gets the notice from Tukey, and he ships himself back to Africa, and then when he gets to Africa, puts on a pair of Nike Airs, runs straight into the jungle. But he's gonna find his pal Ape. He's George of the jungle. He knows the jungle, so who am I to judge? Who am I? Man, I gotta say, after seeing that part, this movie must have been rolling in UPS and Nike money. Wow. Moving along, George finds his pal Ape, and we get yet another fourth wall break that is just classic.
Oh, no.
Oh, no was right for the exhausted ape nappers.
Why don't you say something constructive for a change? Like what we should do now?
Because I don't like you.
We then see George beat the bad guys, get his pal Ape, and then he faces off with Lyle, the two-faced, lying sack of fiance that Ursula seems to not be able to let go of. He wants to force Ursula to marry him at this point. It's just crazy.
Capable, performing legally binding marriage ceremonies anywhere.
He became an ordained minister, I guess? Jack shit crazy. This dude needs to be left in the jungle. Our damsel and douchebag in distress fall into the river on this really shoddy raft. And then he's like on the rapids, like trying to get her to like tie the knot when they're like on the brink of death. And she's like, no, you're fucking crazy. It's incredible. Dude just cannot take no for an answer. But luckily, the rapids kind of did Ursula's dirty work for her. That is before George saves Ursula, and then Lyle Lyle marries an ape in the tunnel. It's so dark that he marries an ape in place of Ursula.
Thank God we've made it. Say I do, Ursula. Well, that's it. We're married. Have a look at my bride.
I fucking love this movie. As I'm sure you expected, a happily ever after.
And on the following new moon, Ursula Stanhope finally got the simple wedding she had hoped for.
Oh, and an ape roasts the fuck out of Ursula's mom, and I love every second of it.
Arthur, I wish you'd do something about all these monkeys. I feel like Jane Goodall.
Madam, I knew Jane Goodall, and you are no Jane Goodall.
We see an incredible party, everybody's happy and dancing, animals and people alike are getting shwasted, and George and Ursula live happily ever after. And don't get too excited about this part of the movie and this like foreshadowing cliffhanger, because the second movie is complete fucking ass. Well, there you have it, folks. Yet another movie wrongfully attacked by the garbage website that is Rotten Tomatoes. In all seriousness, George of the Jungle was a hit for me as a kid, and definitely holds its own when it comes to the Jungle Man variety of movies. But I cannot stress enough, stay away from the sequel. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe and ring that bell down below so you get notified every time I post a video. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. It means the world to me. Peace. We'll see you next week.
I'm breaking down the spliff. I'm rolling up the shits. I'm smoking on that piff. Yeah, I'm just so lit. Yeah, I'm just so lit. I'm breaking down the spliff. I'm rolling up the shits. I'm smoking on it.